Hey world, what's good? It's your boy DJ Know-It-All, and we're about to take a deep dive into the history of Atlanta hip hop. From the Dungeon family to the trap houses, Atlanta has been a powerhouse in the hip hop scene, producing some of the most influential artists and sounds. I'm talking game changers, trendsetters, and straight up legends. From Outkast funky rhymes to Lil Baby's trap anthems, Atlanta has been putting it down for decades. So sit back and let's break down how ATL went from a hidden gem to the epicenter of hip hop, influencing everything today. And first off, we gotta start in the 90s with Goody Mob. They earned critical acclaim with their 1995 debut album Soulful, with singles like Dirty South and Cell Therapy. They were one of the first groups out in the ATL to really put it down. And that brings me to another part of the Dungeon family, Outkast. Big Boy and Andre 3000 weren't just rappers, they were revolutionaries. They brought that southern funk and soul to hip hop and weren't afraid to push boundaries. Their breakthrough album, Speaker Box The Love Below, was a game changer. It was nothing like anyone had ever heard before. They blended funk, soul, rock, and hip hop into this masterpiece that put Atlanta on the map. With songs like Hey Ya becoming a global anthem, but you can't forget about tracks like Roses and The Way You Move. These songs weren't just hits, they were cultural moments. Outkast proves to the world that the South had something to say. They paved the way for the whole generation of Atlanta artists, showing them that they could be themselves and be creative and still blow up. They were the blueprint, and their influence is still felt in hip hop today. Now, after Outkast broke down the door, the whole game changed looking at the South. And up next would be the crunk era, and nobody brought the energy like Lil Jon and the East Side Boys. Little Jon's catchy ad-libs and Pastor Troy and Baby D with their gritty street tales, turning the club into a mosh pit. Crunk was more than just music, it was a movement. It was all about raw energy, letting loose, and having a good time. Little Jon's production was revolutionary with heavy bass lines and those infectious chants. It was like nothing we ever heard before. Pastor Troy and Baby D brought the street credibility and rawness that resonated with the streets. With songs like No More Playing GA and East Side vs. West Side becoming anthems not just in Atlanta but all over the world. Crunk music took over the clubs and the radio. It was a cultural phenomenon that put Atlanta back on the map as a force to be reckoned with. Lil Jon and the East Side Boys, Pastor Troy and Baby D weren't just artists, they were architects of a sound that would influence hip hop for years to come. Now, when you thought ATL couldn't get any hotter, the Snap era hit the scene. D4L and them Franchise Boys brought a whole new style of dance and music to the game. Snap music with its infectious beats and call and response hooks was all about energy and bounce. It was fun, it was catchy, and it had everyone from the A to Japan snapping and popping. D4L's Laffy Taffy was a monster hit and was everywhere. Them Franchise Boys Lean With It, Rock With It took snap music to a whole nother level. These songs weren't just about music, they were about dance moves, the culture, and the vibe. Snap music created a movement that swept the nation and beyond. Snap music was a testament to Atlanta's creativity and its ability to consistently reinvent itself and create new sounds that would captivate the world. It was the moment that showcased the city's unique energy and undeniable influence on hip hop. Now, as the Snap era started to fade, there was a new sound that began to emerge from the streets of Atlanta, trap music. And at the forefront of the movement was none other than T.I., the self-proclaimed king of the South. T.I.'s album Trap Music was a game changer. It wasn't just music, it was a raw, unflinching reality of the streets in Atlanta. He brought the trap to mainstream with heavy 808s, gritty lyrics, and dark melodies. Songs like 24s, Be Easy, and Rubber Band Man became anthems for a generation growing up in the trap. He gave a voice to the voiceless, and his music resonated with people all over the country who were feeling and living in similar experiences. Trap music wasn't just an album, it was a cultural phenomenon that would define a genre. T.I. solidified Atlanta's place as the trap capital of the world and paving the way for artists like Young Jeezy, Gucci Mane, and countless others to build up upon the foundation he laid. Now, as T.I. was cementing his place as the king of the South, another rapper was emerging from the streets ready to make his mark, Young Jeezy. Jeezy, with his signature raspy voice and his tales of hustling and overcoming adversity, brought a new authenticity to trap music. His debut album, Thug Motivation 101, was a street classic. It was more than music, it was a motivational tool for those grinding in the streets, trying to make something out of nothing. Songs like And Then What, Soul Survivor, and Go Crazy became anthems for the streets. Jeezy's music was raw and it was real, and it spoke to a generation of young people that were hungry for success and determined to make it out the trap. He wasn't afraid to talk about the struggles, the risks, and the rewards of street life. He became a voice for the underdogs, the ones who had to struggle to survive. Jeezy's impact on trap music was tremendous. He helped solidify the genre's place in hip hop and inspired a new wave of artists to tell their story. Now, when we talk about trap music, we can't forget about the trap god himself, Gucci Mane. Gucci's work ethic was unmatched. He was releasing mixtapes like they were going out of style, flooding the streets with his unique flow, catchy hooks, and undeniable charisma. He wasn't afraid to experiment, to push the boundaries, and create his own lane within the trap genre. From Freaky Girl to Lemonade, Gucci's music was infectious, it was raw, and it was undeniably Atlanta. He became a voice of the streets and a symbol of resilience and hustle. Gucci Mane's influence on trap music was major. He inspired countless artists from the Migos to Young Thug and helped make Atlanta the trap capital of the world. He is a true legend, pioneer, and his music continues to influence and inspire a new generation of artists today. Now let's talk about Ludacris, who is a true testament to hustle and grind. He went from being a radio personality in Atlanta to becoming one of the biggest rappers in the game. Luda brought a different type of energy to Atlanta hip hop. He was funny, charismatic, and he could spit those rapid fire rhymes that would leave you breathless. From Roll Out to Move, Ludacris' music was all about having a good time, talking that talk, and backing it up. But Ludacris wasn't just content with conquering the music industry, he set his sights on Hollywood too. He landed major roles in the blockbuster movies Fast and Furious franchise, proving that he was a true entertainment powerhouse. Ludacris' journey is an inspiration to anyone that dares to dream big. He showed the world that there's no limits to what you can achieve with hard work, determination, and a whole lot of talent. He is a true icon, legend, and shining example of what it means to rep ATL to the fullest. Now let's get into a new generation of Atlanta hip hop, the ones who are carrying the torch and taking the sound to new heights. I'm talking Lil Baby, 21 Savage, Lotto, Young Thug, Gunna, and Future. These guys are the future of the game. Lil Baby came out of nowhere and took the industry by storm. His melodic flow, street tales, and charisma made him one of the biggest artists in the world. Then you got 21 Savage with the dark and gritty trap sound. Savage is not afraid to keep it real, to talk to the streets and paint pictures of what it looks like to come from nothing. And representing for the ladies in the new school of Atlanta hip hop is Lotto. With her focus on lyrics and sticking to rap and unapologetic accept me as I am attitude has put her in the category as one of Atlanta's rising stars. We also have Young Thug, who is an innovator. He's not afraid to experiment with his voice, his style, and his sound, pushing the boundaries of what Atlanta hip hop can be. And let's not forget about Gunna with his smooth flow and melodies. He created his own lane in the trap genre, and his star power continues to rise. And talking about the new school, we have to mention Future. As a hybrid releasing his first album, Dirty Sprite, in 2011, he still garners the same star power as the newcomers. Future's unique style of flooding the game in the clubs with bangers makes Future a staple in Atlanta hip hop and inspiring a new generation and pushing the ATL culture forward. These artists are the future of hip hop, and they're repping the ATL to the fullest. They are proof that Atlanta's legacy of musical innovation is alive and well. From Outkast to Lil Baby, ATL continues to produce some of the most influential and groundbreaking artists in hip hop history. Atlanta's impact on music is undeniable, and its legacy continues to inspire a generation of artists worldwide. Thank you for taking this journey with me through the evolution of Atlanta hip hop. We've seen how the city evolved from a hidden gem to the epicenter of hip hop, shaping the sound of music for generations to come.